As good a game this as there's likely to be all season. Athlone, 48 seconds is all it took them to go ahead. Michael Collins' shot blocked by Stuart Gold, and Rod Decor's following up beat Tony O'Dowd for his first of the season. There was a touch of luck about Derry's equaliser 15 minutes later. Doolan, Carlisle and Fraser involved, but Doolan's miss-hit shot stabbed home by Fraser. Sandy's the laid-back type when it comes to celebrations. Then the pick of the day. Fraser's through ball to Liam Coyle, brilliantly chipped home by the National League's answer to Matt Le Tissier. Shane Curran caught 6 yards off his line. How many times have we seen goalkeepers in that position this season? But it still takes rare skill to do that. Fraser also involved in number 3. Paul Carlisle's shot just inches away. And Peter Hutton following up. At 3-1, it looked like curtains for Athlone. But back they came, either side of half-time. Conor Frawley's chip, headed on by Davy Dowling, and Tommy Gaynor stooped to make the Midlands side interested at least for the second half. Incredibly, 2 minutes after the resumption, Donald Golden's shot seemed to spell no danger. O'Dowd's got it, hasn't he? Well, he did, until he threw it to Frawley. He took his time and tied it up at 3 apiece. Last week they had 3 sent off. This week it was 3 at the Brandywell. And for poor Tony, another what happened next. The hard part done, Athlone committed Harry Carey. First, Chris Malone scored an OG as he attempted to clear from Fraser. Peter Hutton gave him a congratulatory pat. His keeper, more a case of the slap. And as if that wasn't enough, Shane Curran upended Liam Coyle in no man's land and paid the ultimate price for his indiscretion. Fraser's goal didn't count, as referee Joe Byrne had already blown. Red card for Curran, the 4th Athlone player dismissed in the last 2 matches. Davy Dowling replaced him in goal. And it took Derry until 3 minutes from time to seal their victory. An audacious flick by Coyle set Tom Mohan away, and he had all the time in the world to find Coyle again. Athlone statuesque, they just left Paul Carlisle in acres of room to finish with a flourish. Excitement like this deserves support. This had to be the most entertaining match of the league so far. And a great finish there by Carlisle to make it 5-3 for Derry. Finn Harps in the sky blue came to St Coleman's with a 100% record and gave away a bizarre goal. Jonathan Minnick's free kick to John Walsh was handled outside the area, and referee Dick O'Hanlon gave Cobh Ramblers the free kick. Before the Donegal men could regroup, Neil Abbott rolled the ball to Rory O'Connor and he put Cobh a goal up. But the Division 1 top side came back in the second half. A cross by Pierce Walsh flicked on at the near post, and Noel Melvin's header kept Finn Harps unbeaten after 5 series.
Well, it's time now for more soccer, and that means action from the Bord Gáis National League. And last night, 2 of the sides at the top of the table played in Dublin. Now, in a few moments, the game in Richmond Park, where St Pat's played Cork City. But we begin with Bohemians. They versus Dundalk, and 3 weeks ago. Well, Bohs would have been big favourites to beat last year's champions, but they went into last night's game with just 3 points separating the sides. Stephen Alkin reports from Dalymount Park.
A very cold night in Dalymount Park, but Dundalk certainly warmed up the atmosphere early on with some very good football. Brian Byrne here, the little chip forward, the touchback by Whitnell, the volley by Joe Gallen, and Dave Henderson was stretching. But Bohemians played the best football, and certainly their purple patch was in this first half. The long ball there by Donald Browan picking out Paul McGee, and constantly Bohemians were troubling Dundalk on the break. Kevin Brady provided the overlap. The cross though to the far post, and in came Tommy Byrne to just put the ball wide. A great chance there. Paul McGee adding a lot of width. Donald Browan showing great composure at fullback. Dundalk giving the ball away for the second time in this move, and the third off Stephen Kelly. Broke for Paul McGee, and his snapshot just wide. So it was no surprise when Bohemians took the lead after 19 minutes. Joe Hanrahan looked to be breaking away for Dundalk, but he lost the ball to Robbie Best, and then a lovely move down the right-hand side. Tony Cousins, the measured pass through, Paul McGee offering the width on the right, Browan running off the ball, and there was Brendan Markey at the far post with acres of space. Plenty of white shirts, but nobody picking up the Bohemians players, and it was 1-0 to the Gypsies. Great vision by Tony Cousins. and a measured pass which had Tony Whelan stretching just an inch too far. McGee popping up this time on the right, and he had all the time in the world to pick out Markey. And so it went on as Bohemians took the game to the All Whites. Joe Hanrahan turning nicely but then slipping, and Tommy Byrne was there to capitalise. Donald Brohan quickly offering the overlap. He was very good coming forward last night, and his cross picked out Paul McGee, and there was Brendan Markey to get number 2. A beautifully struck goal, and the 19-year-old certainly looked pleased. An excellent move by Bohemians, but you have to question the Dundalk marking. A lot of ball watching in the penalty area, and Markey had a free shot. And he should have had a hat-trick indeed, just 6 minutes before half-time. A free kick given for a handball by Whitnell. Dundalk thought it was going their way, but Pat Kelly said it was a Bohemians free kick. They took it quickly, and there was Markey in the box to just scoop it over the bar. By this stage, Eddie Van Boxtel was feeling a groin strain, and Dave Henderson was also troubled at the other end. Dundalk could have got into it just before half-time. Brian Burns threw ball, Gallen's shot, and that was the last meaningful save Dave Henderson made in the game. He had to go off at half-time. Joe Gallen quite unlucky there. Again, Bohemians troubling Dundalk on the break. This time 4 against 2. A lovely pass by Markey, weighted into Paul McGee, and his snapshot off the back stanchion. So close to making it 3. In the second half, on came Michael Dempsey for Bohemians, and Tom McNulty shored up things for Dundalk. Indeed, the Lily Whites made the best start to the second half and put their best move of the game together. 6 or 7 men involved in this good passing sequence. Keith Long, Joe Hanrahan, Tom McNulty, Keith Long into Joe Gallen, and off the post and Michael Dempsey. So unlucky for Dundalk, and Joe Gallen knew it. Stephen Napier also provided support in the second half and got in a good cross, which was cleared by Robbie Best. And this led to Dundalk's first goal. As usual, Mick Doohan up in the box. Keith Long across to take it. The header on by Stephen Kelly. And under the crossbar, Mick Doohan did not foul the goalkeeper, said referee Pat Kelly, and it was Stephen Napier who forced the ball over the line. Bohemians incensed. Normally, of course, goalkeepers protected in those situations. But this time, Pat Kelly was having none of it. Judge for yourself. Kelly's header on caused all the problems. Certainly, Doohan looked to go fairly for the ball. And again, and then it was Stephen Napier, the number 5, stepping in to force it over the line. But Bohemians weren't to be denied. Stephen Kelly giving away the corner kick. He thought it came off the Bohemians player. But whatever, the corner by Tommy Byrne floated to the near post. Maurice O'Driscoll the header on, and there was Tony Cousins at the back post to get his first goal in 6 games. A classic Bohemians goal, it has to be said. Maurice O'Driscoll so often the danger man at the near post. This time eluding Mick Doohan, and Tony Cousins did very well to guide that one in at the post. Dundalk did get a penalty kick 3 minutes from time. A foul by James Call on substitute Mick Byrne. As usual, the goalkeeper didn't think so, but up stepped Stephen Kelly to make it 3-2. But for Bohemians, though the scoreline was close, they were certainly the far better team on the night.
We were more than pleased with our performance. We created plenty of chances. We should have had the game sewn up at half-time, but it was nice to get the 3rd goal, and we needed it just at the very end because of the penalty.
We were abysmal first half. We got what we deserved tonight, nothing. We made it look closer. The game 3-2 looks closer than it was. We're appalling first half, absolutely appalling, as bad as I've seen us. Credit to the fellas in the second half, at least they came out and played, and we probably dominated the game. But really the first half performance was very, very poor. Very, very poor.
Now, Brendan Markey was your star tonight. A young player that not too many people know much about. Tell us about him.
Well, Brendan came to the club last year. He's had some runs in the first team and he's done exceptionally well. He wasn't eligible because of the 8-week rule, because he went over to Newcastle on trial. He's only 19. He's got a very bright future, and if he keeps sticking goals like that away, he'll be playing in the Premiership.
At half time, you know, sometimes you can go in and put your finger on one or two items and swing things around. But you want to be a miracle worker in there at half time, you know. It was like, you know, you keep putting a finger in the dike, but there was so many holes, it was unbelievable. So all I said at half time was that we were disgraceful and that we had to play for ourselves, for pride. And I thought at least second half we showed that we're a half decent side.
It must hearten you that you went into the match without 4 of your key players. You still got a win, top of the league.
Yes, more than pleased. It's a tough league, there's a lot of hard matches ahead, and it's nice to be still on top of the pile.
Yes, a very happy Turlough O'Connor there. Well, the other game involving one of the leading sides was in Richmond Park, where St Pat's took on Cork City. Now, there's rarely been more than a goal between these sides. Indeed, this fixture last season produced 7 goals. Now, Peter Collins reports from Inchicore's Stadium of Light.
St Pat's went into last night's game as co-leaders with Sligo Rovers and Bows, but it was the visitors, Cork City, who got the ideal start. Just 4 minutes gone when Cork City's new boy, Paul Matheson, slid the ball past Gareth Byrne in the Pats' goal. Really well taken by the new addition to the Cork City squad. The ball just outpacing Peter Carpenter, little Gareth Byrne could do about it. And when we see it again, a beautifully floated cross that had just enough pace to beat Carpenter, and Matheson, who's on loan from Darlington, did extremely well to guide that one home. Well, Cork City could have been 2 up 18 minutes later as David Hill threaded the ball through for Kevin Flanagan, but Byrne's outstretched leg was enough to keep that one out, and Pats eventually cleared their lines. Good goalkeeping by the St Pat's keeper. Well, the home side gradually began to dictate matters, and Paul Campbell's well-weighted cross was met by Johnny Glynn, but Mike Curley's nick in time fortunately kept the ball out of Martin Riley's reach and into Jody Byrne's grasp. Well, at this stage, it was all St Patrick's Athletic as they pressed for the equaliser, and it nearly came when Peter Carpenter took up a good position just over halfway. He picked out Ricky O'Flaherty, whose glancing header was well saved by Jody Byrne. Well, Ricky O'Flaherty was involved again when Pats finally did level the score. The former Galway United striker putting Martin Riley through, and there was nothing Jody Byrne could do about that finish. Well, as we see it again, it looked as though Riley was setting up to shoot to the right-hand side, but he eventually chose the other corner and made it 1-1. Well, just before the interval, Gareth Byrne had to be on his toes when Kevin Flanagan tried this chip, but the Pats keeper kept his composure and his eye on the ball to keep that one out. Into the second half now, and St Pat's were looking for full points. Paul Campbell tested Jody Byrne from the narrowest of angles, and the City keeper made sure at the second attempt. Then came what was to prove a turning point in the match, a desperate tackle by Mike Curley on Eddie Gormley, and that resulted in the Cork number 6 being sent off. Well, tempers flared again a short time later when Johnny Glynn was upended by Colm O'Brien, another rash challenge by a Cork City player, and he was shown the yellow card for that offence. Well, the winner came in the 77th minute, a beautiful cross by Eddie Gormley, knocked back into Johnny Glynn, and how well the big number 9 did to find the net with his back to goal. 2-1 to St Patrick's Athletic, and a deserved lead. Well, this one well worth seeing again. A beautiful cross by Eddie Gormley, and watch the acrobatics by Johnny Glynn as he sealed the points for St Pat's.